Namaste, Jai Kali, Jai Mahadev, Jai Bharat. I hope everyone is doing good and taking good care of themselves. Remember, if you're fit and fine, you can take better care of your loved ones. So today we are going to talk about anxiety. Yes, a lot of people are suffering from anxiety these days. So let us understand what anxiety is. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit technical in this, but then I'll simplify it later for you guys. Yeah. So now let us understand what anxiety is. Yeah. Anxiety is both a mental and a physical state of negative expectation. Yeah. Mentally, it is characterized by increased arousal and apprehension, tortured into distressing worry, and physically by unpleasant activation of multiple body systems, all to facilitate response to an unknown danger, whether real or imagined. Yeah, so this is what anxiety is. Now let us understand a little bit more deeper the cognitive feeling of dread in anticipation of some bad outcome, and physical sensations such as jitteriness and a racing heart are designed for discomfort. Anxiety is meant to capture attention and stimulate you to make necessary changes to protect what you care about. Yeah. Occasional bouts of anxiety are natural and can even be productive. So anxiety is not always bad. Some anxieties are good too. I mean, it helps you protect what you believe and what you follow and what you treasure. Yeah, anxiety can be considered the price we humans pay for having the ability to imagine the future. Yes. So sometimes we often let loose our imagination to such an extent that it becomes problematic for us. We start suffering because of our own imagined problems and our own imagined outcome and everything. So it's not always like that, but anxiety can be good sometimes, anxiety can be bad sometimes. I mean, like, there are various ways to look at it, and there are various ways that people experience anxiety. So yeah, I mean, this was about anxiety. Now, let us understand when anxiety becomes a disorder. Yeah, and that's also essential to understand. So, but persistent and pervasive or outside anxiety can disrupt daily life, whether at school, work, or with friends. The mark of an anxiety disorder: nearly one third of the Indian population suffers from anxiety and problems in controlling anxiety at some point in their life. So anxiety is something that I mean, like, it's not nothing uh, outlandish or foreign. Of course, it's happening in our own country as well. Anxiety is often accompanied by depression, and the two share many symptoms and involve many of the same brain pathways. Biology can contribute to vulnerability to anxiety, as can childhood experience, such as early trauma, and parenting practices such as overprotection can also contribute towards the development of anxiety in a child. It is neither possible nor desirable to eliminate anxiety entirely. Yeah, so I mean, it's nothing that you can just erase it. It remains there. Maybe the intensity and the severity might reduce or increase, but it remains there, as it plays a very a crucial role in keeping us alert and alive. So I mean, like, it's essential, but yeah, a little subdued form is good, but hyperactive response is not that great when it comes to anxiety. Treatment is geared to keep anxiety at manageable levels, and anxiety can be treated successfully using therapy, medication, or both. Lifestyle measures such as regular exercise and deep breathing are also extremely important in controlling anxiety. So, workout and other activities, deep breathing does help, in keeping anxiety in check. Yeah. And now let us understand uh, how to recognize the signs of anxiety. That is also essential. Let us see what signs to look out for when a person is suffering from anxiety, or when you are suffering from anxiety. Anxiety declares itself not just with endless loops of worry in the mind, but with the heart pounding discomfort in the body, from general jumpiness and trembling to the ringing in the ear and shortness of breath. Yeah. So these are some of the signs of anxiety. The body symptoms of anxiety can be misleading, not always correct, and not only are they often misinterpreted as signs of heart attack and impending doom, a cardinal feature of panic attack, but they often lead to odysseys of medical misdiagnosis. So anxiety even looks like something else and people misinterpret as something else. Maybe it's a heart attack, it's this and that, blah 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 blah. So anxiety is it's misunderstood at times as well. So physical symptoms may be assumed to be the result of physical cause, and in a misdirected search for them, the true source of the problem can continue undiscovered and unaddressed. So often the signs and symptoms that we have talked about anxiety is that it's often misunderstood and misdiagnosed. So one really needs to be very observant when they are supposed to look out the signs of anxiety. Yeah, and of course I have mentioned it earlier also. Anxiety declares itself not just with endless loops of worry in the mind, but with heart pounding discomfort in the body. Yeah, and from general jumpiness and trembling, to ringing in the ears and shortness of breath. So all of this in a very subtle, nothing in like the cardiac issue or heart issue, but all of these other signs are there, which is often misinterpreted and misused and misdiagnosed, and people make money out of it. So yes, these are some of the signs to look out for and how these signs are misinterpreted and misused and misdiagnosed. Now let us understand how we can treat anxiety. So anxiety disorders can often be addressed successfully with psychotherapy, again talking, yeah, alone or in combination with medications and with lifestyle changes. Yeah, so cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, and and also a tailored therapy module can also help people along with the medication. So that does help take off the distress and help manage anxiety. Also, if you see exposure therapy, in which patients are safely and gradually exposed to their fears so they no longer avoid them, is an essential part of most behavioral treatment for anxiety. Yeah, so anxiety, whatever they are scared of, they're gradually introduced to those triggers of fear, and gradually they get used to. So that is one of the therapy modules that is used when it comes to treat anxiety, exposure therapy. Yeah, and also medication is often used to help patients control symptoms enough to focus on talk therapy. So medications are given to that an extent that they are stable and calm, and at least they are able to connect, and they are able to go into the talk therapy. So they are stabilized and they are calm enough to talk it out, and that helps. Yeah, lifestyle changes play an important role in the long-term management of anxiety. So lifestyle changes is very essential. Exercising is very essential. It releases a lot of chemicals in the brain that actually makes you feel good, makes you feel confident, makes you feel happy, makes you feel worthy, and a lot of things happen. And of course, deep breathing is also very essential when it comes to managing anxiety. And meditation is also very good. If you know someone who can help you with meditation, meditation helps as well. Yeah, so now moving further, let us understand what are the types of anxiety. Yeah, so anxiety displays itself in a few diagnostically distinct ways. Generalized anxiety disorder, in which concerns reflect any of the major domains of life: work, love, money, health, is most common among older adults. Social anxiety disorder, more narrowly focused on fear of negative evaluation by others, is on the rise amongst the younger adults. Yeah, so when it comes to the older ones, their kind of anxiety circles around work, love, money, health. Yeah, and when you see the younger ones, the younger adults, they have mostly social anxiety disorder. And what social anxiety disorder is? Social anxiety disorder is, fear of, being negatively judged by the others. So that is again a kind of an anxiety, that builds up in the older ones and the younger adults. And also, if you see, phobias generally target specific objects or experiences. Sometimes anxiety roars into the scene in a sudden, intense burst and builds to a terrifying crescendo in minutes. Panic attacks can strike seemingly randomly out of the blue, or they may occur with incapacitating frequency. Anxiety in all its form is amiable to treatment. Yeah. So, I mean, phobia also has a role to play. Phobia also plays, a kind of a trigger. And now, moving on to now, let's understand what actually causes anxiety. Yeah. So, if you see, the real cause of anxiety is being human, with the capacity to imagine a future. I mean, that is the basic cause. I mean, I really don't need to go and start blaming ourselves, but it's because we have the capability and the capacity to imagine a future, and that is one of the real causes of anxiety. It finds fertile grounds in uncertainty, yeah, and there is much uncertainty in the world these days. So, mind is a very fertile ground where uncertainty can be harnessed and grown. And this uncertainty is something which is quite popular these days. And with more situation and things becoming unpredictable around us, that is what even contributes to a higher level of anxiety. Yeah. So that is what is one of the causes. And when we see, anxiety is unique in that it can be triggered by events in the real world. Any event can trigger anxiety. An upcoming doctor's visit, relationship conflict, a rent increase, or it can be generated whole internally through thoughts of real or imagined threats. Yeah. So this is what anxiety is. I mean, like, anxiety is all grown and harvested here, and then it comes out, and then it damages us emotionally, damages us physically, and we lose a lot of good things and good times in life, thinking and imagining about the unseen and the uncertainty. Yeah. And if you see, what also there is a thing that we all need to understand: what makes people vulnerable to anxiety. Yeah. So if you see, anybody can experience a bout of debilitating anxiety, but some people seem to be inclined to anxiety because of genes or temperament, possibly as a result of early experience, possibly through over or underactivity of some area of brain. They interpret neutral situations as threatening or overreact to threatening situations. Yeah. Stress is a major contributor to anxiety, and the two conditions overlap in many ways. Stress can both set off anxiety and be a response to it. Yeah. So if you see, even the to an extent, the biology is responsible when it comes to anxiety, and the chemical activity in the brain, or the chemical balance in the brain. And of course, uh, anxiety is such a thing that because of this underactivity or hyperactivity of the brain, or the disbalance of the chemical, people often interpret very neutral situations as threatening situations also, and often they overreact to a neutral situation, or they over and over and overreact too much to such an extent where it is not needed. Yeah, so there is some disbalance that is responsible as well when it comes to anxiety. So that is the reason, of course, anxiety, the treatment courses that is suggested is regular walks, breathing exercises, talking therapy. So that helps to balance out the chemicals in the body and stabilizes the level. Yeah, and also in anxiety one gets panic attacks. Yes, it's common to have panic attack when you are suffering from anxiety. Panic attacks are again abrupt bursts of acute anxiety that makes you feel that you are about to die. Yeah, but they are not as life threatening. In reality they are not life threatening, but these abrupt bursts of acute anxiety really makes you feel as if you are just about to die, but in reality that's not the case. Yeah, the body sensations of anxiety becomes extremely intense: pounding heart, racing pulse, the feeling of difficulty enough getting air, and trigger even more anxiety, intensifying the panic. So all of these things contribute to a more higher level and response towards anxiety. So it intensifies the panic. Yeah, the panic situation gets more intensified. So panic attacks can occur out of the blue, even during sleep, and the feeling of loss of control magnifies the terror. Yeah, so the ability to lose control even triggers a lot of panic attack, and people begin to suffer from anxiety. Yeah, as a dire and overwhelming as such attacks feel, some attacks are, like dire and overwhelming, they nevertheless can be controlled even while they are happening. So they can be bad situation, or they can be such bad attacks happening, but things can be controlled. We can always defend, we can always control, we can always take care of ourselves. We just can't visualize and imagine that we have to suffer. We can choose to say no, we can choose to change the situation, we can step out of the situation. So it's not always that you have to go through it. So that is where psychotherapy comes in, where a lot of this deep level of talks are very essential to engage and understand with the clients, with the people, and it helps. Yeah, so panic attacks of course worsens the situation more, but overall if you see, anxiety is something that even olders are suffering from, younger adults are also suffering from. And of course chemicals are responsible, the chemical balance is responsible, the upbringing is responsible, the function of brain is responsible, and a lot of these imaginations, of course, these imagination of things which might not happen, or which doesn't exist, or which might not be the exact outcome you're thinking about, actually can cause more anxiety. So always watch out what you think. That is what my advice would be. And in case if someone is suffering from anxiety, please do share your experience in the comment below. And anxiety is something that can be managed. It's not something which is incurable, but yeah, mood and other things can be moderated and managed with the help of chemicals and medicines. And otherwise talking really helps, walking really helps, deep breathing really helps, and meditation of course helps. So yes, this was all about anxiety, and please do take care of yourself. And in case if you have any problem, do find someone and talk about it. Talking helps. Never feel shy. So please take care of yourself. Lots of love and blessing, and please like, share, subscribe the channel, and share this video with a lot of people, and help them also evolve and get the knowledge that I'm trying to share with all of you. Please take care of yourself. Bye.